Hey, beautiful people. How are we doing? I am Anitra N. Lawson, storyteller, producer, educator, content creator. He is Dr. Andre Evans.
What's going on, Savage Siblings?
He is a pastor, a father, theologian, author, writer, content creator, brother that still I don't want, even after all these years. And we are the Savage Siblings, and this is the Savage Sibling Podcast, where we are brutally honest, relentlessly transparent, and unapologetically authentic. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Bro, checking in with you. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Can't complain at all. I had a chance to hang out with some of my leadership team, executive team, and whenever we hang out, as connected and apropos for this particular episode, wherever we hang out, somebody's always busting out the cards, and so we find ourselves oftentimes in competition, but playing bid whiz. You ever want to see church folks show their true colors and their need for Jesus? Go to a card table. But
100%.
It's so funny. As I was kind of researching and preparing for this particular episode, I realized how important it is to make sure, especially in card games, and our game is Bid Whiz. That's an old folk game for you young siblings listening to this. How important it is to have the right partner for the game. Like if you don't have the right partner bringing the right cards to the table, teams will fight amongst each other. Just yelling at each other, right? So one of the things I love about Bid Whiz in particular is the fact that sometimes I can carry the whole hand by myself and I don't necessarily need my partner to bring anything. But what I also realize is in that, though, my partner is still everything. Meaning, like, even if you don't bring any cards to the table, I should be able to have the same vibe with you. Like, if I'm playing a trump card, don't you play the trump card trying to beat my card. Like, let me win. But every now and then I get this new dude on the table, and that's what I was stuck with. That's the worst thing at a card party, is to get stuck with a partner you've never played with before, not even sure if they know how to play. And I'm telling you, boy, I almost quit midway. And if it had not been for someone like tapping me, talking about, don't forget what you do on Sunday, I'd have walked off the table. I absolutely would have walked off the table. Right, that's what I feel. I feel like, listen, this ain't got nothing to do with a collar I wear on Sunday. This real life. It's real life, But yeah, so it just really put me in a mindset of how valuable it is to have someone who's in sync with you, vibing with you when you're trying to win at this thing, whether it's cards or win at life. It's always good to have somebody rocking with you who's on the same wavelength and just bring something to the table that you can use so both of y'all can have victory. So that was on my mind as we were playing, or this episode rather was on my mind as we were playing. Nice. And again, it's just good to have somebody. Right, well, it can, and that's what I'm saying. Just in life, it's just good to have somebody that's on the same wavelength as you. Just y'all can look at each other and a whole dissertation could be said in just one look. Because you just know what each other's thinking about, what each other's bringing to the table. Let's go on and get this money. Let's go and get this bread. Let's go on and get this victory. It's just good to have somebody like that in your corner at the table with you. So yeah, that's what my realization was after that moment. That's been carrying me all week. So, but anyways, that's me. What's been good with you?
It's funny. This week it's been about striving, and I just kept thinking about how you have to push through and strive. And when I was growing up, middle school, high school, I ran track, but I was never fast. I just had, I could do long distance in essence. I had stamina, so I would always run like the 800, the mile. And there used to be this medley race where you had like 200 runners, and then you had a 400 runner, and then you had the 800 that would round it out. And I would always do that. And it was a good race because I had strong people starting, so I just had to maintain wherever we got,
Right.
when it got to me,
Right.
just maintain.
You just don't lose
the
it.
edge.
You just don't lose.
Just don't lose the edge. And it didn't matter if we were last, just keep last,
Right. Just keep last.
If we were first, you better keep that first. Don't get to second, And
Right,
so
right.
I remember loving that space where it was just like, just maintain this. And then pretty soon I got moved to where I just ran long distance. And I started to miss that ability to pass it off to somebody or hand it off. I was like, man,
Right.
it's just me out here. Like, whew, ain't nobody to, we still running. Ain't nobody to pass this to. Nope, it's just your competition around you. You better learn how to stride. You better learn how to stick in it. So you can't run too
Right.
fast at the beginning. You can't run too slow at the end. You had to kind of
Right,
hit
right.
that stride and hit that rhythm. And so that's this week. I've been looking like, where's my team? Stick.
Right,
stick.
right. I'm with you. Right.
Like I'm ready to pass it to someone. It's like, nope, it's just you in this
No
race right
doubt.
now. So just keep
No
pushing it.
doubt.
But it's been
No
good. It's
doubt.
some good lessons, and God always lets me know He's there with me. So I am
Amen.
striding
I
and
love it.
striving in this season, and I'm happy for it. So no complaints.
love
But
it.
let's jump into this sound off segment.
Sound off segment. Sound off.
So this particular episode is entitled "I Got 5 on It." And the reason why we titled it "I Got 5 on It" is because it's this thought process that as siblings we learn something early on, and that's this kind of spirit of reciprocity. This understanding what you bring to the table, what I might bring to the table, what we bring to the table together, so that then we could get higher, or go higher. I got 5 on it in my mind right now. We could get higher, or we could go higher.
Unintended.
Whichever way y'all want to roll with it is fine with me. No judgment here. No judgment here at all. But it really, because you learn, what do you bring to the table? What you got that's going to help us win? What you got that's going to bring us victory? And when I really thought about it as it relates to kind of this just sound off of this particular episode, is we really do learn reciprocity as siblings, but we first learn it as negotiating. That's what we first learn it as. Like, siblings are naturally going into this negotiation process,
Right.
Because you can't help yourself, right? It's because I know what I want out of life. I need my sister to help me. So let me go on and negotiate her part in all of this so that I can get to where I want to be, right? And so it's in that negotiation process that we do learn some stuff. And, we learn what it is we actually can do that brings success to a team effort. Even if that team effort is like, I want this, I still got to negotiate with my younger sister.
Right.
I got to know what she brings to the table. I got to know what she can do really well so that we can do it. In order to know what you bring to the table, you first learn to negotiate who you are and what you have. And you really do this in childhood as siblings. I just, as a sibling, what I want in life, and this is because of my history with you, Nikki, I'm actually better prepared right now to be able to negotiate things in life because of what I went through growing up. No, I'm serious. So whether I'm full on prepared to negotiate a hostage standoff or some high stakes labor disputes because I'm dead serious. If the FBI called me right now, and I know my FBI agent is listening, if I'm called right now, I'm telling you, I know how to go, because I've had to negotiate now and laters from Nikki. I've had to
100%.
negotiate, right? I've had to negotiate, her silence because of what I was fitting to get into.
What he was doing.
So I listen, I'm telling you right now, I've been watching too many of them movies. I'm telling you right now, CIA call me right now. I can get a terrorist
He's
out.
equipped.
I'm equipped. I'm fully ready. I am absolutely fully ready. Because I'm telling you, they were Nikki, hey, you got to learn how to keep your secret if you're going to hang with me. Like, I've said that to you. I've said that to you. And here's the thing about learning negotiations. See, here's the thing. It went one of two ways. You either told me what it was going to cost me, or watch this. I had to learn Nikki's sins so I could leverage them against her. Listen, that's the art of negotiation. Like, listen, I'm about to do wrong. I know you're wrong. let's go and get this. Let's go and be quiet for each other. Let's go. And I'm saying, those negotiations.
I silently walk away.
Right. So either way, that's what it's kind of how I learned it. Because when you think about negotiation, I'm going to say this and I'm going to throw it to you, and then I'll come right back in a second. But when you think about negotiation, it really is. It's like this interaction between 2 points of view. Like, I want to do this. Nikki doesn't want to get in trouble, but I want to find a little trouble to get into. Let's meet halfway. Let's meet halfway. So that's my, that's our first step to learning what we bring to the table, or the spirit of reciprocity is first the art of negotiation. So I'm gonna pause there. I want to get your thoughts on negotiations.
Oh, I 100% co-sign everything you just said. And as I was kind of unpacking this notion of reciprocity via siblings, it's like this never-ending goal to get to air quotes, fair partnership, right? Like that's that foundational thing of fair partnership. But for those of you guys that had sisters like me, Andre was never fair in the partnership. He would
fair is subjective. Fair is subjective.
No. I'm going to break it down. He would say, yeah, it's a partnership. Yeah, we're going to have some harmony. Listen, shout out to all the younger siblings. If you remember them times when your parents would leave the house, and obviously, unfortunately, the eldest sibling was left in charge. And I remember standing, looking at the door as mom or dad would leave, and I'd be blinking my eyes furiously, trying to signify, don't leave me here. He beats me when you're gone, right? He's going to do these things, right? But so even when parents first kind of try to establish that reciprocity, that fair partnership among siblings, because they want their children to understand sharing, et cetera, once they're gone, that's all out the window. Now,
all out the window.
Everybody is fighting for their version, as Andre Burbo, you just kind of presented that negotiation. So when mom and dad are home, the TV remote is fair game, right? That means Dre gets to watch He-Man, and then Nikki gets to watch My Little Pony. There's no discussions about that. You're going to rotate.
None
it's going to be a balance, right? Same thing with video games, right? Even if Nikki loses, she gets to stay on the couch, and after you play, then she gets to play. But as soon as your parents are gone,
I remember that.
The TV remote is no longer fair game. Now it's a marathon of He-Man and G.I. Joe and all the shows on Nickelodeon that I don't want to watch, right? Like the stuff that I want to watch, there's no negotiation because he's the older brother. So now you got to go find someplace else to do that. So yes, then you start saying, okay, well, how can I leverage this, right? So now you're thinking about, okay, well, when that girl calls next time, and I answer the phone, I'm gonna see if I think about if you're really home, right? Or when call waiting is in full effect, maybe I won't click over. Maybe I'll just keep having my conversation, right? So and you start to learn, as Bro mentioned, how to leverage those two things to make sure that there's some level of it. But I do think our parents really do train us to learn reciprocity among siblings really well. They try to. They try to. It doesn't always work, but I definitely, when they're around, their mindset is you share, you balance. There's some harmony to it. But then I think as you get a little bit savvier in it, then you learn how to use it in a way that benefits the both of you. So like when it's Saturday chore day, I remember Dre would be like, well, you're better at cleaning the bird cage out than I am. And I used to enjoy that. So you do that and then I'll do this over here because we got to get it done before the end of the day so mom's not tripping. And so you start to find ways to say, well, let me take on this. I clean this better or I do this better and let's get it done. Because at the end of the day, we want to have the rest of our Saturday to ourselves. And so you start to kind of find that fair partnership as you get older. But definitely siblings will definitely teach you what they bring to the table, definitely teach you how to be aggressive to get what you want, and then you do start to pay attention to their needs. And I'll say this last thing, kick it back to you. Even when you're younger, you sort of naturally kind of care, about your siblings and are they going to get some of what I'm getting? And I remember getting gifts or getting things when I was young, and I'd be like, well, what about Andre? Does he get one of these too? Can he have some of this? And it does change as you get older. Then you're like, you get nothing. But when you're young, there's a sweet spot there, and you try to share it. And so I think it's the complex learning experience with siblings that helps us understand reciprocity, the good, the bad, the ugly. So let me kick it back to you.
No, there is that growth process, and it does spill over into adulthood. And it's so funny that you mentioned that there is still this portion of care, Because even while I'm the one defining what fair is when you're young, I still
Right.
needed to make sure that something in my heart still wanted to make sure that you got something out of it. And so then as you got older and we both started redefining what fair is, because it's not cookie cutter for every set of siblings.
Right.
It, but that's great because it's not only cookie cutter for every set of siblings, it's not even cookie cutter every single time in one particular set of siblings. And that's the importance of learning this kind of spirit of reciprocity, because then as you get into an adulthood, not every moment of reciprocity is the same, and we can't approach it the same. And as we really unpack this topic, we're going to see the detriment of oversharing, the detriment of being the giver too much, the detriment of being the taker too much, right? Because absolutely reciprocity works, because from at a young age, we're taught the negotiation, the art of returning favors. And when we learn how to return favors, then what happens is we avoid the social stigma as an adult of being this ingrate, or always being a taker, or always living in a vacuum, or being isolative. And it really does end up being this sibling thing that is taught, because our parents, they taught us in theory what it means to share. In theory, what it means to give, what it means to take turns. They taught us in theory, because I can't say to I can't teach from child to parent. There are certain things I can't teach in the art of negotiation reciprocity, because a parent can say, no, this is the way it's going to be, and that's it, right? But as a parent, speaking with children who are siblings, I can say, no, y'all need to learn to share.
Right.
You need to learn, right?
That's good.
And so those negotiation processes definitely find their way into adulthood. And it's I'm not still trying to forge a compromise over the VHS, trying to watch, right? And for young people, Google VHS. I know you don't know what that is. And I'm also not necessarily trying to negotiate the world peace accords. But they're just kind of regular, everyday human being things that reciprocity can show the benefit to, and using those same skills I did when I was young, but also the same skills as world leaders use today to solve world-related problems, right? 100%. And the best of all thing there is that as we kind of get better at reaching agreement in a painless manner, it's because of how well we were able to learn to negotiate in this sibling relationship. The fact of the matter is, I definitely perfected my negotiation skills because of you, Nikki. and the first thing you said is well, let me tell you what it's going to cost you. But that's very true. I distinctively remember times I used to sneak out of church at Grant Chapel AME in Wichita. Shout out to Dub K and Grant Chapel AME, where me and my boys Chris and Kaylin, rest in peace, Chris, would sneak out of church, and you would know, and I literally would have to say to myself, how many now and laters is this going to cost me? And so I used to have to say to you, Nikki, I'm going to bring you some now and laters back from the corner store. Like I'm spending my tithe at the corner store. Because I'm supposed to give it in church, but I'm finna go to the corner store and I'm finna get me some now and later. And I knew, and here's what's crazy. I knew at a young age, Nikki, 2 to 3 now and laters would get you to keep your mouth shut. And here's the reason why. It wasn't because you had a massive sweet tooth. It was because I knew for a fact that mom didn't have any now and laters. So now the question is, which one, what is the value that I bring to the table that keeps Nikki silent? 1 might not be enough. 2 might not be enough, but 3 was always enough. It was always enough. And so that was so what did that mean? That meant I knew Nikki. I knew what her needs were. That's what we're talking about when you got that spirit of reciprocity. You're simply saying, I know what my needs are, but I also know what the needs are of the person I want to go to victory with. I want to win this battle with. I want to get this paper, this bread with. I know their needs. And what do we both bring to the table? Because I can't be the only one. And I also can't get to the point where her giving is obligatory. she feels obliged.
There it is.
No, I
Yeah,
gotta
that's
make
good.
sure that in the spirit of reciprocity, we're both bringing where we're gifted at, and we want to bring. We want to bring in. So we definitely learn what we bring to the table as far as giftedness, our hustle, whatever it is. We learn it. We absolutely learn that there. When I was thinking about it a little bit further, if we can go just a little bit further
Sure,
before we get
absolutely.
into the sponsorship, eventually what we learn is that we cannot be selfish in negotiation.
Right.
I started that way because I was the older sibling. It was easy to start that way. Probably near impossible for you to start that way. And I'd love for you to tap in on that in just a second. But it was easy for me to start off selfish. Whereas I believe you probably had to start off selfless because you didn't even know you didn't even know you were in a negotiation. Like you didn't know you didn't even know what you were getting into. Right. All you heard was candy. What about candy?
Right.
Candy? Candy. That's candy. Because that's what I started with. I got now and laters. And it was like, oh yeah, I'd like a now and later. Okay, this is what you got to do. You didn't even know what you were getting into. So we start off right. And you've already incriminated yourself. You didn't even know it. Like you got evidence on the fruit of your lips, literally.
Right.
So but eventually we learn that it cannot be a selfish thing. As we get adults, it might try to be, but selfishness won't make its way into adulthood, reciprocity that way, because as an adults, we can tell. Now you just in this for yourself. You just in this for what you want, but you're not trying to make sure that I have a need met. And so we learned that as well. Growing up, there's just this kind of principled negotiation and it becomes strategic in its effort, where we're saying, no, this is that heart you were talking about earlier. No.
Yeah.
Nikki got to eat too. Now I'm going to eat. Nikki got to eat. We got to eat together, because if we don't, then I end up having this kind of polarizing effect. And we then end up in these entrenched positions where you're like, nah, I'm not going to give. And then Andre says, well, okay, well, I'm not going to give. So then what did we're not getting anywhere. We're not getting in an area where we're both. Exactly, we're at an impasse because nobody's getting their interests or their needs met. But I'm curious as to, what you kind of learned as far as what you kind of knew to bring to the table, or giftedness, hustle, whatever it means. I'm gonna kick it to you for a second, and then I want to keep going a little bit deeper on this.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I definitely think there might be something said for the hierarchy or the birth order, because I think as a younger sibling, you come into it and you kind of, mentioned it in terms of the importance of understanding both people in the relationship where reciprocity is concerned. There's a trust factor there too, right? Which we'll probably unpack that a lot more in the Savage segment. But, I'm also looking to my big brother in a very trusting way, because he's a safe haven. He's a safe place, which is, again, part of the negotiation. And negotiation, as we'll talk about more, doesn't have to be negative. It can be, positive. There's layers to it, as we're, kind of unpacking. And so you're trying to come into this space when it's an older sibling with just full on trusting. And what you learn is, yes, their unique identity, your unique identity, and what each of you bring to the table. So it's kind of become a staple for my brother and I. And this probably did happen when we were younger. But if there's ever a time that someone needs to kind of talk to our dad, it's always Andre. And that goes back to what he brings to the table, because he has the rapport with father. And so for years, it's always been, Bobo, can you talk to dad about this? Or can you ask him about this? Right. And then when it comes to like dealing with mom, then that's kind of been my thing. And over time,
every single time,
over time, you learn who your siblings are and who you are. And you start to really figure out, is this a space because of the strength of who they are where I need to be more selfless? They need me to step up into this space because they know I'm better at it, or I need to kind of step back because they're better at it. You start to really negotiate that selfless or selfishness based on who you are as siblings and what it's called for. And I do think just our natural innate love helps us to make, the right decision. And I know I can
Yeah.
always, call on my brother to step up in things that he knows I'm not as strong at, and vice versa. Like even when we talk about this podcast, like Dre will be clear, this technical stuff, you do that. I'm gonna stick to the creativity in terms of on air, and we break down our strengths to make this come to life. It makes
Yeah.
me also think about like our Aunt Ciola, and think about it in terms of the structure of her siblings. Like she is the sibling that brings the family together. It doesn't
She
matter.
is.
I'm Minnie, my dad, Uncle Wesley. Everybody can talk about what they want to do, but it's always going to be Aunt Ciola that comes in and brings people together. And that's just one of the gifts and the tenets of her character, that she's the one that will rally everyone together. And I think when you start to look at your own sibling structure, you start to see, what each sibling brings to the table. And there's just this really natural, spirit of reciprocity that's just kind
Right.
of threaded through that. And that's the beauty of having siblings, is that, it's just like we gave the analogy of the track, the relay team or the bid whiz players. You just get to where you kind of naturally understand how they flow, and sometimes you become more selfless because you know that the greater good of whatever it is you're dealing with, that they need more of you or less of you. And so whatever that is, that's what you provide. If you need me to be a little bit more here, or give a little bit more, or take a little less, then I'm willing to do that because I understand who you are and you understand who I
Right.
am, and I understand
Right.
what we're doing together. So it's definitely trust, and I definitely think
Definitely.
it's a harmony of selflessness. And then, we can have that space of selfishness, but siblings chip away at that too on a general
They do,
sense,
absolutely. Absolutely. Because as we get older, you start to see that process differently. It's no longer just the spirit of reciprocity. It's actually the spirit of relationship where both of us are
Yeah, that's
going to
good.
win. And it's not based on any givens because, like you said, Aunt Ciola ends up being this matriarch, but she's not the oldest. And she's not the youngest. It's just kind of
Right.
where she is.
Excellent point.
It's who
Yep.
she is in her giftedness. Because
Yeah.
Aunt Mittie's older than Aunt Ciola, if I remember correctly, and so and definitely Uncle Wesley's the oldest, right? So
Yeah, I
it's
think
not
Uncle
like
Wesley, then Aunt Ciola,
then Aunt
then
Ciola. Okay.
then Aunt
Uh,
Minnie, then Dad, then Aunt May. Yeah, I think
so
that's
so you might naturally say to yourself, well, hey, Uncle Wesley should be the one.
right.
No. Absolutely no.
Right.
That's a whole nother episode. Absolutely no. That's a whole nother episode. I love you,
We
Uncle
love you,
Wesley,
Uncle
but
Wesley.
absolutely no.
And he'd say that too. He'd be like, "I'm not
and
organizing
he would
nothing.
say,
I'm not
right,
doing
like,
none of
I ain't leading this family.
I may not even come."
Right. Exactly. So yeah. So it's not even about what's given or what's expected of you. It really is where you're most gifted. And here's how that works relationally is everybody, you mentioned the family dynamics of dad and his siblings, but everybody as a cornerstone of understanding reciprocity, everyone feels appreciated for who they are.
Yes.
Everyone feels
Yep.
affiliated for what they bring to the table. Everyone feels like equals. Everyone has the same status. Everyone feels respected and can stand on how they're gifted. Everyone understands their roles and their activities, and they are fulfilled when everybody brings their five to the table, right? And so
Yep.
therefore, as long as they have all those things, there's no conflict. But as soon as you
Right.
cross one of those needs, conflict is going to arise.
Yeah.
As soon as you cross off respect, conflict. As soon as you cross
Yeah.
off appreciation, that feeling that you're appreciated, conflict. As soon as because you can't have compromise without all of those core things when it comes to both negotiating and learning the spirit of reciprocity, because it really is at the end of the day our spirit of relationship. It's a spirit of
That's good.
relationship. And when you have all these things, all of them equal, and all these things really start to make sense, you're equating how gifted you are, how hard you hustle, your anointing, just the things that you're favored in doing. Then watch
good.
this, and watch everybody that brings something to the table, all of us improve. Right?
Ooh, that's good.
People tell me all the time, Andre, you're a great listener. Well, where did I learn that? Listening to Nikki.
Yep,
No, I'm
siblings.
serious. Listening to
Yeah.
Nikki, because it helped me negotiate how what Nick, it helped me both negotiate and learn reciprocity. It helped me to learn what I bring to the table because I'm listening to what Nikki brings to the table. I'm listening to what Nikki needs. And because I'm listening to her and I know what I need, so I'm listening to what she can do and I know what I can do, it's a way of promoting both of us to where we need to be. And that's why so much of our relationship is, Nikki, we gonna do this. Not Nikki, I'm gonna do this. Can you help? Nikki, we gonna do this.
We're gonna do this.
And so I don't and here's what's crazy, like and think about this for a second. There's some subconscious level of reciprocity with us. I don't think it's by happenstance that you chose Tallahassee over New York.
Nope.
I also don't think it's by happenstance that I say, hey, we've been to move from Charlotte to Southern California when Nikki ended up in LA. None of those things are by happenstance. It's because the negotiation, the reciprocity, it's a relationship process. And I think so many people as adults, they fail to be able to give and balance giving and taking. They fail to be able to be in a relationship of reciprocity. Either one, because they're an only child and they fail at a lot of things. But then number two, because you didn't learn the negotiation process and you started seeing people as a stepping stone.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah. So see, when all I see is people as a stepping stone, negotiations will only take me one step. Oh, I hope somebody heard that. If all I see people as is a stepping stone, I'm limited as to how far I can get in success. But when I see people as a relationship, then negotiations take a lifetime. They become, when I see people as a relationship or reciprocity, now it's a lifelong move. Because the fact of the matter is, people will know if they were your stepping stone or if you or they were your life success. Yeah. And if they feel like you stepped on them, so they feel they've been stepped on, they ain't necessarily going to be there the next time you need another step.
That part, right?
They're not going to be there. If you didn't find common ground to build a relationship and all you found was a common step, well, then that means your giftedness became a signal to them that you're only there to eat by yourself. You're not there to make sure that if you eat, I eat, right? So I don't ever feel, anytime I come to you and say, Nikki, I need help. Anytime you come to me and say, Andre, let's do this, I never feel like I'm being stepped on. I always feel like this is a path towards both of our success. And because I truly listen to you, I now know that you're not saying something that's just a step. I know you're saying this is a pathway. That's what's huge different. I'm not a step. I'm a pathway. And it's because I listen to you. I know what you want to eat before the meal is prepared. And so I'm already thinking to myself, well, let me think ahead of where we are so that if Nikki says, hey, we need to do this, I already know because I've studied and I know you and I know where you're wanting to go for both of us. And that way, then, I'm already preparing because that's really what the spirit of reciprocity is. It's a preparation for a purpose that's taking you to an area where you couldn't get to without this person. And so when I think of the spirit of reciprocity, when I think of being able to effectively develop a relationship and negotiation for someone, it really is about being prepared so that both of you can eat, both of you can get to where you're going. I've got an example to that. Then I'm going to kick it back to you. Sharonda was flying into town to come and visit. And Sharonda is and I know she's going to hear this and call me immediately. She's a 5 Michelin star rated type of girl. What I mean by that is, for those of you that don't know Michelin ratings, she don't go out to eat unless it's 5-star Michelin rated, right? She don't do fast food. She do restaurants. with hors d'oeuvres. like you look at the menu and it says hors d'oeuvres and for the rest of us trying to figure out what is hors d'oeuvres. No, that's hors d'oeuvres. right. So she don't do anything less than Michelin star. She's a Michelin star rated girl, and bless her, God has blessed her. She's got the ability to do that, right? So, but the way me and my bank account work, the way my money works, I'm more of a grocery store dude. Like I'm more of a like. So when I knew she was coming, I had to think to myself like, right. I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, we gonna have to go to this. Like we have restaurants here in San Diego. They're not named after whatever the title is on the front. They're named after the chef who brings the menu. So I'm thinking to myself, oh Lord, we're going to have to go to Chef Choisi's restaurant on the bay. Chef El Dumont, down in Gaslamp. Like, I'm thinking to myself. And so I immediately was like, like my bank account, like this is going to be detrimental to my bank account, right? So there are times where you got to negotiate out of the spirit of relationship, saying don't give more than what you got, right? Stick within your giftedness. And so what I said to Sharonda was, listen, baby, we could go to Chef El Dumont and Gaslamp. We can do that. I said, but baby, or what we can do is Chef Andre, can make something in his small apartamente. and listen, and we can deepen our relation.
Right here in the house.
right, exactly. Right here in the casa. So, I was like, and I'm telling you, this is exactly how I'm talking. I'm saying I'm a cook. And now watch this. Now, Michelin star rated restaurants automatically get her attention. Right. But what takes her to the next level of success in a relationship is we can deepen our relation if I cook. So she missed the Michelin stars and heard the message, which is the deepen relation. So the negotiation there is simply me saying, all right, we can go to this place and the menu's prepared, or I can tap in what I know about you and I can make the menu created to what I know about you. We can come on, somebody better hear what I'm just saying. That's that spirit of reciprocity. Listen, I know what I bring to the table, and when I want both of us to eat, I'm creating a menu based on what I know about you. That way, then you're going to bring to the table your best as well. You're going to bring to the table an appeal that makes me feel like I done won in life as well. And it's that type of thing that helps people just continue lifelong reciprocity with you. If all I see you as a stepping stone, then you ain't going to continue with me. But when I can say, this is what I bring to the table, and it's not just for me, it's for us. It's for us to get better.
That's the key. Yeah.
It's for us to go deeper. It's for us to get better. Those are lifelong reciprocal relationships that we need to be building, and not the selfish stepping stone relationships. That's how negotiations work. That's how reciprocity works. I tell people all the time, when I used to teach at the Christian college here locally, I would get these students coming to my class. And they'd be like, Dr. Evans, I enrolled to take your class. And I was like, well, why did you enroll to take my class? Because I heard what you bring to the course. I heard what you bring to the course.
That's good.
And I can't get what you bring to the course anywhere else. So that becomes my appeal. And so then I give them what they heard, and they grow. And they become better. And now some of them still come back to me today. Hey, Professor Evans, anything I can do for your church? Yes. You can join us in this ministry and help us out, because I need, and that's then they bring back to the table what I brought to help them grow. So they're bringing it back refined and even better. Those are those lifelong relationships that are built on someone simply saying, I got 5 on it. Let's both get high or go higher, whichever one you want. Go higher, whichever one you want. And so don't miss the deeper lesson you learn when it comes to valuing a relationship of reciprocity. Because when you understand what you bring to the table, you stop. I told this to, oh my gosh, one more example. I promise you. Last example, then I'm going to kick it back to you before the sponsorship. When I was talking to Corey, because she recently turned 18, and as one of the first things she wanted to do turning 18 is she wanted to go buy some scratchers. And so we went, for those of you not from the Midwest, scratchers are the lottery tickets where you scratch off, different, to see if you won. So she wanted to go buy scratchers. And so she bought some scratchers. And 2 of the scratchers hit. One was for $5, one was for an extra ticket. And so I said, all right, well, let's we'll go take care of that after I pick you up from school. So we went, she got her $5 and she got her extra ticket. She scratched off the ticket, won an extra $5. And I was like, all right, well, come on, Corey, I see you. And so, we went back and we got her $5. And she said, hit me with another one of those tickets. And I said, Corey, you don't want to just keep your money? She's like, no, Dad. I'm going to scratch off and I'm going to win me about $50,000. And I was like, I know that's right, girl. And I said, when you do win that $50,000, that's going to pay for your whole college education. Right? Like, so you make sure. And she's like, well, it'll pay for half of it. I said, what you mean? What you going to do with the other? She said, and watch this. Well, I'm going to give the other 20, I'm going to give half of it to Corinne towards her college education too.
My.
And here's the thing. I know why Corey's saying that. Corey's saying that because Corey and Corinne have a lifelong reciprocal relationship where they've said, I'm going to school for this. I'm going to school for this. We're going to keep being a blessing to each other because, watch this, when we're ready, we're going to open up our own business together.
Yeah.
And so as long as I keep pouring into you now, you keep pouring into me, we're going to get there a lot faster. We're going to get there a lot sooner than people expect. So that partnership, that relationship of reciprocity for them starts now. Starts now at a young age.
Yeah.
Corinne sent Corey like $50 via Zelle on her birthday. And I'm saying to myself, Nikki ain't never sent me $50. Not for my birthday, that is. Now, you done sent me $50 for other reasons, but not for my birthday. Like, wait a minute. I'm lucky if I get a happy birthday.
Text.
Right, maybe. And if it might be on the 13th. Chances are it's on the 14th or the 15th. Ooh, I forgot. Happy belated birthday.
Or listen to early in case I forget.
Or early, right, in case I forget. I'm like, but Nikki, it's May. It's not even September. But in case I forget.
I'm putting it on the books now.
right now. But anyways, it's that thing where Corinne and Corey have already said, nah, we finna work on this because that's the deeper lesson. That's the value of establishing a reciprocal relationship. And I think many of us are missing that because we don't know how to effectively give so that we build a lifelong relationship. We give because it's a stepping stone. I'm going to give it to you now so you can get me where I want, but then I'm going to forget about you as soon as I get where I'm going. No, I got 5 on it because we both getting high. We both going higher. I'm giving because we both are getting this. And I think that's a huge thing that as adults we're missing today in a very selfish society, a very social atmosphere where it's look at me, follow me, like me, love me, see me. But what about us? Yeah. What happened to us? And that's a crazy thing about where we are. And I blame social media because there's no longer this relationship interaction. It's just posts. That's all it is. Just post. It's just a post. Like we're not interacting the way that we should be socially, and so then we're turning into this selfish society where and it's crazy because we're even talking about siblings. I know a set of siblings right now. They don't even talk to each other. They don't even interact with each other. Except for on social media. That's not interacting.
Wow.
Like, you talk to your brother. Oh yeah, I talk to him. Yeah, on social media is what they're referring to.
That's rough. Yeah.
Nah, you ain't interacted. And so there's no growing together. There's never going to be this moment. I shouldn't say never, but right now there's not this moment where their gifts can help you, your gifts can help them, and let's get this bread. Let's get this paper together. We out here struggling in a vacuum because we don't know how to have a spirit of reciprocity or a relationship of reciprocity. I'm going to kick it back to you now.
Absolutely. No, I co-sign everything you said. And so speaking of spirit of reciprocity and what you bring to the table, we want to shout out our sponsor for this episode, which is S2 Mediaworks, a media production company co-founded by my brother and I. And we bring to the table this notion of creating content that should educate, empower, inspire, and hopefully encourage us all through positive, living, through positive giving back, and all of this told through original narratives. So our mission at S2 Mediaworks is to provide transformational education and resources, all leading towards healthy and productive lifestyles, and we love to do that through creative storytelling. We're dedicated to creating life-changing and life-giving content in all that we do, and this, the Savage Siblings podcast, is a product of S2 Mediaworks lineup. We got so many other things in the canon, from books to additional podcasts that we can't wait to release and share that with you. And so we're trying our best to use our gifts to bring things to the table to share with you all. And so as always, thank you so much for joining us for another episode. And with that, bro, we've already dug into, I feel like we already into the meat of the savage, but let's get in the savage segment. You ready to get savage?
Absolutely. Let's get savage. So again, the name of the episode is I've Got 5 on It. I got 5 on it. And I think what we want to do is just kind of start with just kind of maybe our definitions and perspectives individually as to what reciprocity is for the individual. Right? Mm-hmm. Pretty much in nearly every culture, there is this process of socialization. And in that process of socialization, we have to be taught to share. And we know that when we all become better when we share knowledge, we share wisdom, we share technology, we share, all of these things, science and math. If we share, we all become better. And we all have to also learn to take turns. And right, you're strong here, so it's your turn. We all get a chance to show our giftedness when we do that. And we also have to learn in our socialization process to give back to everyone who gives to us. And that begins to bless the future generations. And we kind of keep the relationship going. And so people that just kind of don't learn this as a definition, don't learn this rule of reciprocity. I'm looking at you, only children. People that don't learn this rule of reciprocity, they can only really try to get better. And here's the reason why I say that.
Yeah.
Until you learn the relationship that comes with being reciprocal, then you don't really understand that your gift is only a gift when you give it away for others to be better. What good is a gift if you don't give it for others to be better, which means I need your gift, you need my gift.
Yes.
Our gifts are only as good as we give and receive from others, right? Because what's the end game of socialization? What's the end game of a relationship? Right. Because at some point, those who you've given to, they're going to come back and give to you, and everybody's going higher. But those people you stepped on, you're going to realize that stone is no longer there, and you can't get any higher because you have no more stones to step on. And so at the core there, the reason why we give is because the relationship gets us better. We don't want to be ashamed or ostracized if we don't learn how to kind of integrate this rule of reciprocity into our social behavior, into who we are. So for me, the core definition of this relationship and reciprocity is I'm gifted, you're gifted. Let's give our gifts together and let's get higher. So for me, that's kind of like, that's where I start when it comes to understanding reciprocity. I've got a gift, I got to give. You got a gift, I need your gift. Let's give together and let's get a little higher. That for me is where I start in terms of definition. How about for you?
That's good. I love it. I think about it as the flow of energy or flow of effort.
Oh, that's
and
good.
understanding that it
Yeah.
has to be in both directions. And the reason why that
Right.
flow of energy and effort must be both directions is because the goal is to make sure that the other person feels valued and or loved, right? Like obviously in work environments or professional environments, it's more about the value, right? And then in relationships, it's the value and the love, right? Or how those can be interchangeable.
Right.
And so, yeah, I had something similar in terms of the art of I give, you give, we give. And
Right.
it really is all three of those. It cannot be one or the other. It has to be I'm giving, you're giving, and we're giving. And when I was kind of processing this, it made me think about one of the core techniques in acting, specifically improvisation, that when you go to an improv class or you go to, whether it's a community class or you're training it in school, one of the first principles of improvisation that they teach you is this principle called yes and.
Okay.
And it's the mindset of when I step into this space and we're going to get some sort of concept that we have to basically jump into free expression, and I'm working with one other person or a whole group of people. You have to make up in your mind that, one, you're going to say yes. Yes means
That's good.
I'm going to receive whatever this my counterpart, my acting partner,
Right.
this team of actors across from me are going to give. So if they start a scene that's sensual in nature, and I Anitra, I'm uncomfortable with that. No. In improv, you say yes. That means you're going to accept what they're presenting to you because you're going to go on the journey. And then
Got
the
it, yeah.
following part to that is, and now I'm going to add something to it. So I don't just stand there and just receive
I love
and just
it.
say, okay, I'll
I
play
love
along
it.
with everything. I now have to give you something uniquely from my creative energy to add
Absolutely.
to the flow of the improvisation of the scene, the work that we're doing. And that's how we build these really amazing moments in improv. And so I think what the core of reciprocity has to teach us, just piggybacking off of that example, is you really do have to learn both sides of it.
You do.
You have to learn giving and receiving. And for some of us, one side or the other might be easier.
Right.
Some people can receive all day. They just like, yep, this is good. Keep it coming, right?
Right.
And they have to work harder at learning to give. Whereas other people it's easier to give. It just comes
Right.
natural for
Just
you.
very
You're a natural
natural.
giver. And then you have to work at receiving. I remember
That's
our
it.
mom, and this happened years ago. She it was at a time where I think I may have told this story before, but it was just life-changing for me because it was teaching me understanding the way that she wanted to give. She loved to buy things for me, and this is before I was married and had kids. And I would be looking at all the stuff that she needed to buy for herself, right?
Right.
But it didn't matter that she needed to buy it for herself. Instead, it was, oh, I want to get this for Nikki. And it got to a point where I was really frustrated, where I was just like, stop buying me things, go buy this, go do this. And I remember our mom looking at me, Dre, and she had tears in her eyes. And she just basically said, why won't you let me give you these things because it's the way that I, in essence, express love. And I never knew that, but that's what
Sure.
it comes down to. Reciprocity, sometimes for those of us that are natural givers, which is what I am, it's so easy for us to push back. It's
Yeah.
so easy for us to say, no, I don't need it. I'm good. You keep it, because we want to show love or show value, in a way of giving. But in order to really get the importance of, I got 5 on it, you can't be the only one paying for it all the time.
You cannot.
Like, people want to put 5 on it, and you got to let them put 5 on it,
Absolutely.
right? And then absolutely you have to also contribute your 5 there too. And so I think when I was just simply breaking it down, it's I give, you give, we give, and then understanding yes and in reciprocity.
Absolutely.
Yes, I receive this, and this is what I can bring. And I'm sure we'll unpack that a little bit more, but that's my foundational.
And you actually started going into how we learn reciprocity, because you do have to learn. It took me a while to learn to receive. Like, I have no problem giving. I it was easy for me to learn to give within my means. So I didn't, growing up the way we grew up, we didn't have $1 million. You learn real quick to give within your means, because not only can I say I got 5 on it, but I also can say I ain't got that. I ain't got it. I ain't got it.
Right.
I know how to say both. But what I had to learn is two things out of that. Number one, I had to learn the creativity of I may not have this, but I got this. And so it's not always about the money. Sometimes it's about the hustle. Sometimes that's why we mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about just simply where you are gifted and anointed. And when you figure that out, it becomes easy to give, but you also have to learn how to receive. So in learning reciprocity, it's both sides. So I'm like you, Nick. I had to learn, and I'm gonna tell you, the way I had to learn that, I didn't learn it until I started pastoring. Because this is an area where people, and this is what's crazy. Like mom, the pastor's mentality is no, I gotta take care of you. I gotta take care of you. I gotta take care of you. Well, how do I take care of you? Well, I got to give you the word. I've got to teach. I've got to make myself available to counsel, to pray. And I was doing that. And so that's what I was bringing to the table. Where I had to learn to receive is then folk were just saying, let me buy you dinner. Here's some money. And I just said, no, don't worry about it. No. And it got to a point where old ladies was like, you blocking my blessing. And
that part. Don't do it.
And when I tell you they were saying that, they were dead serious. They were like, you are right. You are stopping God from blessing me.
Yeah.
And that was a tough lesson to learn. And so it didn't. And so what it has to translate into is as you're a giver, you got to learn to receive. You don't get it to the point where you become to be nothing but a taker, but you got to learn how to balance giving and receiving if you really want people to grow in this process as well. Because we have to understand that part of people coming to the table and saying, I got this, is because they're trying to avoid being considered a freeloader or a parasite because you can't grow. And here's the thing I'm going to say next. You also have to learn to stop giving away free samples. I want to make sure somebody heard that.
Now that's going to sting.
Let's go. Right. See, when all you know how to do is give, you're becoming that person that gives away free samples. And you're that person because you're not letting people give back. So you're just giving what's really valuable about you. Yeah. You're giving free samples, but it needs to be a give and take process. Yeah. And that way then, because if you're not careful and you become known as the one always giving free samples, then you become the one easily manipulated. You become the one walked on. People be coming up with you as a salesperson talking about this is a good deal. All you need to do is you find yourself giving out a sense of obligation and giving out of sense of and you don't even know you're being used because you've given away free samples for so long. Listen, no, what you bring to the table has value. It is value adding, and people need to give back valuable as well. They must bring value to the table as well. And I'm going to say equal value, but I'm not talking monetary.
Right.
You might bring $5 to the table, but I know the $5 plug, right? So, right. Right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm still bringing something to the table. But it's so I'm not talking money, but you got to learn to let people bring equal value to the table, and you do that by learning to trust your judgment on who you go into partnership with, who you go into relationship with. I trust Nikki explicitly, meaning it wouldn't matter what you said you're bringing to the table. I already know it's worth millions. I'm going to trust the process.
That's so
and
good.
And learning to trust our judgment when it comes to distinguishing, is someone bringing to the table something that's generous, that's genuine, or are they bringing something that's designed to activate this obligatory giving from me? We got to learn that part. We have to, because people will bait you or shame you into giving. People will guilt you into giving. I've been guilted to bringing stuff to the table, and I had to learn the hard way. And I had to learn no. I had to learn, no, I ain't got it. I had to learn, no. Matter of fact, Matter of fact, right? No is a whole sentence, and you know what? It's not only a whole sentence. It's no.
No.
It's in nine different languages.
Nine.
Like, you know,
Yet.
nine. Yet. You know what I'm saying? Like how? And that's the thing. And that's the thing. You got to be okay learning that this relationship isn't reciprocal. So my answer is no. I'm not bringing anything to this table. I'm not going to do it because I'm no longer naive. I'm no longer overly trusting, but I'm also not overly mistrusting. I had to learn the relationship of reciprocity, and we all do.
Yeah.
A lot of the learning is just information, knowledge, understanding. Because I'm gonna give an example about learning and knowledge of yourself. Know who you are and what you're bringing to the table. That way, then you don't miss out on opportunities and you don't get yourself in dead end opportunities. I'm bringing an example that helps you understand what you got to know about yourself. I remember being in Charlotte, just fresh out of college. And I was renting this townhome, and the townhome was great. I enjoyed the townhome, but the owner of the townhome wanted to sell the property, no longer wanted to be in real estate management. And so the leasing company says to me, hey, we can't honor your lease beyond this because the owner's selling. And she said to me, do you want to buy the townhome? And I immediately said no. And the reason why I said no, because I thought all I was bringing to the table was money. What I didn't know about myself is that I could have brought credit to the table. Somebody better hear what I just said. Good. Because I didn't know that about myself, I missed the opportunity to build wealth through real estate because I didn't trust my judgment. My judgment couldn't trust the table itself. So it's not just what you bring to the table. Do you trust the table? What do you know about the table? I thought it was about money because nobody taught me how to negotiate my credit. So I had to learn that my judgment was never about me. It was about also the table. Good. And therefore, I'm about to say something. When it comes to the relationship of reciprocity, don't let everybody come to the table that you're about to eat on.
Ooh. Teach.
And it sucks because oftentimes it's not until you reflect after the fact that you become more able to accurately discern your table. So, but, learn yourself now so that you're prepared for whatever table's presented to you. Because even after years of experience and discernment, there's likely going to be times where you're going to have to judge the table, and you don't want to misjudge the table. We might misjudge other people's intentions, but if you don't misjudge the table, then you can say, no, you ain't got no seat here. I'm sorry, you ain't got no seat here.
I thought you did.
If I know the table, right. I know you. I know the maitre d' called your name, but it wasn't a reservation at this table. right. So see, that's the thing. If I know, if I know the table, then I know who to sit down and break bread with at the table. So sometimes the relationship of reciprocity is know your table before you know who to bring to your table.
That's good.
Because not everybody's gifts can sit at the table, the opportunity that you have. But again, that's kind of how we learn. We got to cultivate a keener sense of your table, a keener sense of other people's motivation. You got to cultivate in order to become more mindful of your own self, what you bring to the table, your own consciousness, and sometimes unconsciousness. Because sometimes we jump at a table because it looks good, but we don't know it yet. But you gotta learn how to cultivate what knowledge, cultivate the relationship, cultivate. Therefore, you can trust and have better judgment, and you get rid of those impulses to give and without getting because an impulse drove you. What are, to me, some basic, questions you got to ask yourself, and I hope this helps somebody. And learning how to learn a relationship reciprocity is, do you have any expectations of reciprocity? Like, what are your expectations? Will you be disappointed, resentful, or hurt, or feel bad if they don't bring everything they need to bring to the table?
Sure. Yeah.
Are you letting go of what you're bringing to the table, or are you holding on because you feel like you have a right on the way it influences, the way it impacts? I got to control what I bring to the table because I need to control how we be better. And we've said this before, is it obligatory while you're giving because you feel obliged or shamed, or you feel pressured, or you feel guilted into doing it? So to me, those are some of the ways we learn reciprocity.
What's up, savage siblings? I hope you guys are enjoying this discussion about the art of fair partnership and reciprocity. Not to mention learning how to negotiate in those spaces, which I learned effectively in dealing with my own brother. Y'all know how he is. Siblings, y'all know we teach each other the importance of reciprocity. So this episode digs a lot deeper into healthy reciprocity, transactional relationships, the pros and cons of learning when to give more and when to ask for more. So we get deep, you guys. I so hope you're going to join us next time for part 2 of I Got 5 on It. That didn't sound really good when I sang that, but you know what I mean. I've Got 5 on It. Part 2 is coming at you. You don't want to miss the transformational perspective, the quick shot, and Dre's final blow. So as always, thank you so much for joining us for part 1. Please help us build the Savage Siblings community. We need you guys to like, to share, to comment, leave a review, subscribe, and send this to your favorite Savage sibling. Share your thoughts on how you learned the art of negotiation, maybe from your siblings, right? I know I did. We want to hear about it. A huge shout out to the amazing team of people who make this all possible. Dwayne McClendon, Kyle Davis, our sound editors, Ronnie Maxwell of Maxwell Music, he's our music producer, Keith Cross of K-Cross Photography for the amazing photos, our parents for their DNA and all the funny life lessons, and of course you, the listeners. We are so glad you guys are rocking with us. So we're going to see you next time, and remember, don't go through life alone. Take care.